So today I'm going to take a look at modding the Dell Optiplex 7040. A lot of these models are pretty similar though, so these instructions may work for you if you've got a similar model of this desktop. This is a small form factor. You can pick them up on eBay for about 150 bucks. Sometimes on Amazon. I think I got mine through Amazon. So there's a bunch of videos showing some upgrades to these and teardowns and stuff like that. But what I couldn't find was how to mod it. So I'm going to show some mods. Bought on AliExpress a really cheap piece of plexiglass that's 200 millimeters by 200 millimeters. Drew that out on the side here with frog tape. And then I traced on the inside of that. So I'm going to cut on this inside line with an angle grinder. Quick teardown. Side of it, side panel comes off really easily. Inside the side panel, we've just got this one rubber piece. It's supposed to be some kind of a standoff, I think. But this is actually pretty thin, so it shouldn't be too hard to grind through the side of that. The window here is off center a little bit, top and bottom, because a lot of the bottom is taken up by this power supply. Power supply is not bad. It's got 110 watts, I think. So that's enough to drive this third-party video card. I put in a Radeon 6470, half height, and it's got no power connectors. It just runs off motherboard voltage. So that was a major plus. The front of this has a DVD RW drive, which I'm not going to be using, so I can take this drive cage out. It came with a Intel SSD built in, so I cloned that to underneath here. Let's get the front off. Front just kind of pops off with these 3 tabs. Underneath this drive cage here, I got an NVMe SSD to put in the M2 slot there. It's a whole lot faster than the SSD that came with it. We got RAM slots right next to it here. Got a massive shroud on the CPU. I'm probably going to do something about that later, but not yet. So the thing about this drive cage is it's structural. So without it, the front and the top of this case just kind of get really loose, and it's got nothing to snap onto for part of its latches here. So that's the problem. So what I'm going to do is this drive cage here, take out the SSD mount. But I've got these marks traced out here where I'm going to cut kind of the front of this off and keep the part of it that I need structurally. And we're just going to take the rest of that off. And DVD-ROM, I don't need that. So I 3D printed this black insert. You can also buy these, but they're a little out of my price range, like 10 bucks just for one of these when I could make it myself. Makes no sense. So you kind of just pop that in here, and it's a dead front for the DVD slot. So everything else I'm going to use, I'm also going to put some lights in here and run them kind of down the front, and then I'll run some on the inside here somewhere. And probably this video card can get kind of hot while it's running, and it's right next to the power supply, so there's not a lot of airflow in between here. So I'm going to try putting some holes through the plexiglass, see if we can't get some better ventilation through here and vent out the back that way. So should be a pretty good project. One other note I did take off, there's a SATA connector that goes here and provides power to the drives. And I'm going to use that to power my microcontroller for the lights. Alright, so I did my cutting. Cut this off the cage. It's just kind of a piece that goes on the front. And double check that it still fits. Still works. It's pretty solid in there. If I wanted to put a screw through the front there where that red dot is, just kind of hold it in place a little better, but that gives it a whole lot more stability, because with that cage out, it's not stable at all. I got the hole cut out of the side too, and you can kind of see in the light it blistered a lot where this kind of a veneer thing is on it. So if I were good at metal finishing, I would make sure to strip all that off and repaint it with black spray paint or something like that. I'm probably just going to leave it like it is, and I may try to do like a warped kind of a burn design pattern or something. I don't know yet, but it's pretty solid still, and it fits pretty well in place. Once you tuck it in the slots where it goes here, it still snaps in place, and so you still got the stability for it to hold on to here in the front due to this piece that I cut, and hides the power supply pretty well. Where I put the edge of the cut, I put some holes in the plexiglass along here, along the video card. Should have some good room there. And then through the window, you can kind of see a whole lot more than I was anticipating being able to. So that's kind of cool. Can put some shinies, some lights, some whatever on the inside. And just going to epoxy the plexiglass in place inside that window. And we'll go from there. So here it is running with the lights in it. Controller's right down here. It's an ESP32. Got a custom wiring harness I made out of the SATA power connector here. Just using the 5 volts only. Runs the lights here across the power supply. You can see through the window I cut. And on the side here, it goes down the front. Front's assembled with the 3D printed DVD slot replacement. So that's it. Got to put the plexiglass in, and then I'm done. So, finished it up. Got the plexiglass window in there. It is epoxied in. I got the size pretty good. The epoxy looks kind of janky because it's my first time using epoxy. Learned a little bit on that. Got the holes drilled down near the bottom so the video card can intake some air. That went pretty well. A couple of them cracked a little bit. I don't have a drill press, so just kind of eyeballing it. So all in all, pretty happy with how it turned out. The blisters and stuff from the heat of the angle grinder still bug me a little bit. Probably not going to do anything about it for this one, but I might try again now that I've got one under my belt and kind of know what I'm doing. So all in all, pretty happy with it. With the LEDs, they'll shine through and look pretty cool. So not a bad little mod. Good luck.